Hey everybody, it's Pete. Good morning. On the air a little bit earlier today. Welcome to Stock Trading Pro. We're actually going to break down Facebook earnings, Meta platforms, and do a little bit of a deep dive into whether or not we should be excited about buying this rally, whether or not it is something to sell into if you happen to already own the stock. Is it an opportunity to scale out of Facebook stock if you got caught from higher levels? We're going to break this down right now. We're also going to talk about some other earnings, and we're going to break down the communication services sector that should see some amazing volatility today, just simply off of Facebook Meta platforms earnings this morning. So it's going to be kind of fun to run this through. You can see the futures are actually exploding right now off of earnings. But we're first going to break down the stock prior to what it looked like during earnings. And I'm actually going to get this off the screen because one of the biggest things we do is we want to work the charts and we want to figure out, is order flow obvious? And one of the biggest things here, let me just map this out because this is pretty important right now to have a picture of whether or not it's the right price, whether or not it's exactly what we should be looking for. And right now, since the last earnings, when Facebook Meta platforms got absolutely smashed, the stock has basically been stuck. Now, the biggest thing we want to talk about is there an edge? If we choose to buy a stock, if we decide Facebook Meta platforms is the best stock to buy right now, is there a high likelihood that we're going to make money? That's really what it comes down to. And smart money, deep pockets, hedge funds, people with a lot of capital, up until this point have decided the stock has been an absolute disaster. And they're going from a software company to a hardware company. And right now, the stock is doing nothing from a bullish perspective for the last 6 months, essentially for the last two earnings reports. Now, I just want to point something out. Now, I know there's a lot more headwind behind this thing, but this is what happened after Tesla reported. The earnings were just absolutely amazing. If you remember what we talk about, anytime that we're looking at earnings, we need to be focusing on guidance. Now, I also want to compare this to another stock. I'm going to break down Facebook a little bit here, but I want to compare it to Snap because the reason that Facebook rallied is the same reason that after Snap reported right here, and you can see the next day it was actually up, it did not go down, is because of subscriber growth. But their guidance was not good at all. So that's what we're actually going to keep a look on. Remember, don't forget, we are not buying the previous earnings. We're buying the next earnings. And it's the expectation of those cash flows that if we buy Facebook stock today, is the cash flow in the future going to be more valuable than it is right now? So this is the big thing. Remember, forecasting is the expectations. It is the guidance. Now, this is not good news. The first thing I want to get across is they had such a low bar to overcome, and they overcame that low bar, but that doesn't change the fact that possible revenue drop for the first time after a decade of growth. So the question comes in now, is Facebook a growth stock anymore? Can they outperform the way they have in the past? And is it still a company that you should consider something that will explode the way it has in the past? And in my opinion, they're getting into hardware now, which is a completely different business. They're running out of real estate inside of their platform. There's a lot of stuff going on with Chrome and Apple IS blocking, tracking pixels right now. It's a different company. It's not the same. And I'm telling you that as a business person who uses it for business, it is very different. Does that mean that Facebook, the company, Meta platforms, are going to collapse? No, we're talking about whether or not right now the company is considered a growth stock, or are you holding this now? And is this a mature company that's still trying to figure out what it's doing? For me right now, it's not a growth stock anymore. For me, it's not. And to break it down even further, obviously, if you're a regular viewer of our channel, you know that we like to track and piggyback the order flow. We never want to guess. We always want to just follow the money and say, that's where it is right now. We're going to hop in and piggyback just finding a spot. So we have order flow, tape reading, and the optimal entry. Those are the three primary things. As of this year, and even before this year, we're going all the way back to August of 2021. Sellers have been in charge of the stock. And just to give you some trader lingo, you can see it was up here at $380, down now. It's at 200, but yesterday it closed at 175. That's a 50% haircut. That is a 50% haircut on this stock right now. And I just can't explain strongly enough. There's a reason for that. The reason is guidance. We are paying for tomorrow's earnings. And right now, tomorrow's earnings, again, let's just break this down a little bit further. Shares jumped 20% in Facebook after hours, after they were on better than expected profit, the company's business has flatlined and doesn't look like it will rebound until the second half of the year. Okay, its earnings reported for the first quarter. Meta gave revenue guidance for the current period of 28 to 30 billion, trailing the 36 billion analyst estimate. So again, they missed the revenue number. They rallied because of an increase in subscribers, but Snap did the same exact thing. Okay, now this is the big thing. The meager forecast follows a year-over-year growth of just 7%. So how could you consider that a growth stock anymore? Facebook is not a growth stock anymore. Now, let's separate investing in Facebook Meta platform from actively trading Meta platform. Every single day in our community, we talk about stocks that are active, stocks that should be in your game plan, stocks that have institutional attention on a daily basis. And you can see from week to week, Facebook has these energy candlesticks where they're opening at one end, closing at the other end. There's a lot of opportunity. So do I plan to actively trade Facebook Meta platforms? Absolutely. 100%. It's got volume. It's got volatility. It's got a catalyst. It will absolutely be in my watch list. But I could say the same thing about Boeing, which has gotten crushed over the last week. We had plenty of opportunity in the stock yesterday. I'll give Aldo in our community yesterday was trading the stock like a fiddle yesterday, back and forth, called the absolute bottom. Boeing got crushed. It was a good, active trading stock, one of those stocks that should be on your list every day. So I want to be clear. I am not looking to buy Facebook right now. I am looking to put my money in other areas until and if I see what they're saying for the back half of this year. Will the back half of this year perform the way that they're talking about? I don't know. What's going to change between now and the end of the year? I don't know. They're going to have to come out with something radical, but that's in 3 months, 6 months. I just don't see it happening. So again, I just want to be clear. Everything we're talking about here is for educational purposes. This is all my opinion, but I am not looking to invest in Facebook at this moment. However, what this does offer is an opportunity for us to get involved in other areas of the market, such as right now, communication services. A lot of these communication services are going to find what we call a bid this week, simply because of the earnings numbers that came out in Facebook. There's going to be an opportunity to trade all of these stocks. So breaking down these ideas in, excuse me one second, my screen is frozen. Breaking down these other stocks and communication services, we're looking at some of these that are looking to get a rally off of the Facebook earnings. So whether or not you love these ideas, whether or not you hate them, again, I want to be very clear. All I'm talking about right now are day trading opportunities. So if we break this list down a little bit, we want to work it into some ideas that are in the same area, in the same group as Facebook. So first thing I want to do is start out my template, and we're going to go over here to communication services, which is obviously where Facebook is. And you can see just in this criteria right here, it's breaking it down. There's only 23 stocks, but I want to break that down a little bit further. And I want to see, we're going to actually now pull up the charts. We're going to go to performance. We're going to go to the last month. And I can tell you right now, they've been getting smashed along with Facebook. Twitter and T-Mobile are the only two that have actually been strong. So we're going to now break these down and see if there's any other opportunities. Now, again, I can't stress this strongly enough. We are not looking at investments. We are looking at stocks that should be active to trade with Facebook earnings right now. Twitter obviously has a much bigger story. T-Mobile's coming off of a breakout right now. EA actually had a nice rally about a week and a half ago over here and just couldn't get through the level. But here's the thing that I want to point out, and this is very, very important. Notice the size of the energy candlesticks. This is what we're looking for. We're looking for institutional attention on a short-term basis where we could read the tape, read the order flow, and partake in some short-term trades. Again, I'm going to go back to Boeing from yesterday. It looks like it got hammered, and it did. But from a short-term active trader perspective, we are talking about 161, 148, 148, back to 157. These are amazing opportunities for short-term active traders. So Facebook is going to give a catalyst to all of these other stocks that are in communication services. So if we break these down a little bit further and we continue to look, what I would strongly recommend or suggest to our community right now, maybe if you're watching this video, you could do the same thing. Find some other stocks in communication services that you can put in your watch list today to trade off of the Facebook volatility. That's how we're attacking it today. And that's how we're looking at Facebook stock. You can see here again, it's stuck in this window. It's a $50 window. And as a matter of fact, right now, based on where it is, it's in the lower third of this window. So there's really not much of an edge here. So you need to make a decision. Am I investing in Facebook stock right now, or am I trading it? I'm telling you straight up, I will absolutely be trading it. I am not looking for an investment, regardless of how strong the stock is right now. So this is the list of stocks. You can actually drop down into FinViz. You can see the criteria here if you want to take a snapshot of that. The other companies I want to talk about today that, again, we're going to get some volatility off of. PayPal, obviously at the top of that list on the bullish side of things. But again, Outlook beats, but revenue for Outlook, PayPal trims 22 Outlook. So again, Outlook means guidance. That's a fancy way of saying guidance, but revenue beats forecast. So if we hop into PayPal and determine whether or not PayPal has order flow, it does not. PayPal has been getting demolished since the middle of last year. Again, same as Facebook, actually, since last August. Earnings just came out. The stock is up 3%. Can you look at the stock right now as an investor and say, my gosh, buyers are really in charge of this thing, and I just can't wait to hop on board? You can't. So that means right now we have to get feedback from the market for more than just pre-market before we determine the stock is a better long-term idea. Again, we are buying tomorrow's revenue, okay? Trims 2022 Outlook. That's a fancy way of saying they trimmed their guidance going forward. So beat revenue is going behind us, okay? Revenue forecast is the expectation. Outlook is the guidance. Those are the two big numbers that we're constantly talking about. Yes, it's going up now. Does it hold the bid today? That's the big question we're going to be asking. So again, am I looking to invest in PayPal right now? No. Am I looking to actively trade it? Yes, 100% based on the volatility. Very similar. And again, I'm going to keep coming back to this stock because it got crushed yesterday, but it was an amazing, amazing volatility on the short term of the market. Now, the other side of the market is Teledoc, which I know is a big Kathy Wood stock. Teledoc absolutely getting smashed overnight. Again, more than 30% after earnings. Outlook slashed. Outlook, fancy way of saying guidance. Guidance is what we are buying today for tomorrow's cash flows. Teledoc is also getting crushed. Now, the stock from an active trading perspective will have volatility. Again, going all the way back to last year and continuing to go back and continuing to go back. The stock has been in bearish order flow since February of 2021. Now, they have a real company. This company actually has great products. They just aren't monetizing them yet in a way that Wall Street likes. So again, what do active traders want before they choose the best stocks to buy? They are looking for volume, volatility, and opportunity. And you could bet your bottom dollar with this stock actually down now in the 30s. This is something I'm going to be watching today as well. So Facebook, Teledoc, and PayPal will be at the top of my list to be actively trading today. And the other stocks in the communication services sector, I will also be watching for these stocks to catch a bid off of Facebook's volatility this morning. There is a ton of stuff going on right now. The trading from a short-term perspective, just absolutely amazing. I just want to give you a couple of other stocks that I'm going to be watching today, including Delta Airlines. Some of the airline stocks are actually near a big resistance level, near a level where selling has come in. But if we can clear this level specifically in Delta Airlines at 45, and we're actually not that far from there, we've actually got some really nice clean pushes and pauses and pullbacks. And yesterday the stock went well bid and looks like it's going to open up just in front of this level. So DAL, Delta Airlines above 45 is the big level I'm watching. Two other stocks that I want to point out. I just want to point out Ford. Again, Ford actually had some pretty good numbers yesterday, but again, Ford is actually still in a bearish order flow. To keep things as simple as possible, and when would I be looking to size up into this stock? I really, really need to see Ford get above 17 and still $2 away. So what this would be for me is this would need to be a two-step trade where if I like it today, which again, I'm not really saying I want to dive in because it's still pretty bearish and I don't see any support below this level. If it breaks below 14, the next level is all the way down at 12, which is why I want to see it start moving up in my favor. The one other one that I want to point out that I find pretty interesting today, CVNA. And if you are a regular viewer of our channel, you know that I'm kind of sticking with cars right now. If you're a regular viewer of our channel, you know that we tend to watch the electric vehicle stocks and Chinese electric vehicle stocks, Tesla included. This doesn't look like anything special, right? However, when you dive a little bit deeper into it, you can clearly see after earnings came out, CVNA has a massive explosion in volume, and this is the signs of accumulation. So we're starting to see CVNA, Carvana have accumulation come into the stock. So I also want to point out some other stocks in this group, obviously talking about Tesla. I get asked all the time, what stocks should be in my watch list today? Which stocks should be in my go-to list of stocks? And right now, we're actually seeing the electric vehicle stocks in general have a rally this morning. So I'm going to be focusing on communication services and this list of electric vehicle stocks. Again, as short-term trades taking advantage of the volatility. Again, this is up 3% now. Are these investments? No. I'm giving ideas to take advantage of the market. A lot of traders are struggling right now with the big picture. Pull yourself back from the big picture. Look at some of these short-term opportunities, and I think you'll be surprised. There's some good ones in there. What's going to be super interesting here about Tesla, if Tesla should not hold this bid, the next minor support down here, you're talking about all the way down around $750 if it can't hold this bid. That's going to be pretty interesting. All right. Hope this helped. Have an awesome day. If you found this stuff valuable, please do me a favor. Click down, subscribe, smash that like button, and let's go make some money.